evolution of Cobra Bubbles. Cobra Bubbles makes his debut in the 2002 animated movie Lilo and Stitch as a secondary protagonist voiced by Ving Rhames. Here, he appears as an African-American man with a strong, big, and muscular body, a bald head, eyes usually concealed by sunglasses, wearing a formal white and black suit and 2 gold earrings, while also implied to have had hair in the past. Although not much is known about his background, it is revealed that he previously worked for the CIA before ultimately becoming a social worker by the time the movie started. In terms of personality, he's a tough and strict man who usually doesn't show emotions and doesn't let them get in the way of his work, making it hard for others to read what he is thinking, as well as fairly serious, not taking jokes well, and remaining focused on his objective at hand, reflecting his previous line of work as an agent. In the story, he first appears at the beginning, tasked with determining the fate of Nani's guardianship over her sister Lilo, and after a brief assessment, during which he witnessed complete chaos in their house, he concludes and gives her 3 days to do better. Soon, however, the situation gets even worse due to him learning that Nani has lost her job and Lilo got her new pet Stitch, who tends to behave uncontrollably, even throwing a book at Cobra's head, after which he tells Nani to urgently find a new job and Lilo to make Stitch a model citizen before his next visit. Meanwhile, he can be seen in the background discreetly looking over their progress. However, despite his best efforts to help Nani prove herself suitable to be Lilo's caretaker, after witnessing Lilo almost getting drowned, he officially decided to take Lilo away the next morning, during which their house gets completely destroyed by fighting Stitch and Jamba, only supporting his decision. At the end, after the Grand Councilwoman arrives on Earth and allows Stitch to stay with Nani and Lilo, it gets revealed that both Cobra and the Grand Councilwoman knew each other from his past as an agent, and then she orders him not to separate the family, but to protect them instead from now on. After which he, now in his casual clothes, helps them rebuild their house and becomes a part of their ohana or family. Next, Cobra appears in the animated TV show Lilo and Stitch the series, which follows after the events of the previous movie as a recurring minor character, voiced now by Kevin Michael Richardson. In the series, he mostly appears briefly while interacting with the main characters, as shown in episodes such as Spooky, in which an experiment that can morph into others' worst fears turns into Cobra and tricks Nani into thinking he's taking Lilo away. Then Amnesio, where Cobra was seen at the end with the other major characters celebrating Lilo's birthday. And then Shush, in which he was given an experiment that can eavesdrop on others' conversations for CIA-related use by Lilo, with some exceptions, such as in the episode The Asteroid, in which he was visiting an observatory to speak with a scientist in order to find any possible solution to the destruction of an oncoming asteroid that threatens the Earth. But after discovering that there's nothing anyone can do and that hope seems to be lost for Earth, Cobra heads over to Nani's house to warn her and the family about the problem, since they have access to a spaceship. However, Lilo overheard him previously and was already ahead of him by taking Stitch, Jamba, and Pleakley and flying away in the ship with the intent of stopping the asteroid, and after successfully sending the asteroid away, Cobra tells Lilo and Stitch that, although the US government cannot publicly acknowledge these events, he does pass them a congratulatory letter from the president himself. Then, Cobra reappears in the 2003 animated movie sequel, Stitch the Movie, in a supporting role, voiced by Ving Rhames. In the story, he appears after getting called over by Pleakley and Nani to help figure out a way to save Jamba, who had been kidnapped and held hostage by intergalactic criminal Dr. Hamsterville, demanding the other 625 experiments in exchange for letting him go. After which Cobra arranges for the meeting and reluctantly proceeds with the deal. But after Lilo decides not to exchange them after all, on his signal, the Grand Councilwoman's ship rises out of the nearby ocean and aims several guns at Hamsterville, revealing that he was secretly planning to arrest him from the very beginning. At the end, Hamsterville did get arrested successfully, but due to Lilo releasing all the experiments on Earth, they all got tasked by the Grand Councilwoman to find them all, and to turn them good by finding a place where they belong. In the Chinese animated spin-off TV show Stitch and I, Cobra makes several appearances in a supporting role, voiced by Richard Epcar. He is first seen in the second episode Teacher's Pet, where it is revealed that he is in China watching over Stitch, who has found a new family with local girl Wang Ailing from a distance, along with another CIA agent, relaying information to the Grand Councilwoman. And then in the episode Creatures, in which he has been monitoring Jamba and the creation of his new genetic experiments, and then witness Stitch initiating the creation of 8 experiments, after which he consults the Grand Councilwoman, who decides the Galactic Federation needs to intervene. However, once he sees that the new experiments, including Stitch, are actually behaving well, he tells the Galactic Federation to stand down. Following Cobra cameos in the 2021 animated short, The Simpsons in Plusiversary at Moe's Tavern for the Disney Plus 2-year anniversary party, sitting at a table with Fat Tony. In the animated TV show Chibi Tiny Tales, Cobra appears as a cameo character in his new Chibi version in the episode Every Lilo and Stitch Chibi Tiny Tale. Finally, Cobra reappears in the 2025 live/CGI remake of the original movie Lilo and Stitch, in his original major protagonistic role, portrayed by Courtney B. Vance. Here, his appearance remains very reminiscent of his original incarnation, with the only differences being that now he has smaller body proportions, a mustache, and only one earring. And instead of sunglasses, he wears corrective, transparent glasses, and in addition to his formal suit, he also wears casual clothes to blend in. In the story, his role gets a bit modified, specifically that now, unlike in the original movie, he is an active CIA agent who goes undercover as a social worker to investigate the crash site where Stitch had landed, and then later discovered Stitch himself on a Facebook page, after which he finds his location, eavesdrops inside his car on Nani and Lilo's talks through a microphone, and then shows up in person with Mrs. Kekoa, a real social worker, and secretly takes a piece of Stitch's hair to study. Later, however, he realizes that Stitch is actually less dangerous and less of a threat to humanity and the Earth than his own deranged creator, Dr. Jumba Jookiba, who planned to destroy the Galactic Federation and take over the universe. At the end, he also takes part in resuscitating nearly drowned Stitch after they defeated Jumba and then negotiated with the Grand Councilwoman, whom, it is revealed, he met for the first time, in contrast to the original, and agreed to protect Stitch and the Pelikai family as well as take over the place of Jumba, becoming a part of their Ohana and Pleakley's new best friend.